Hello, we're going to explore the concept of transactional analysis and its usage in day-to-day conversations. Now, these conversations could be crucial conversations such as dealing with somebody who's angry with you. It could be a regular conversation that you could have over coffee with a friend, right? Now, what transactional analysis says is that each of us within us have three what are called ego states, or simply put, emotional states. Each of us within us have a parent, we have an adult, and we have a child. Okay? Now, the child in us, for example, is that part of us, it wants what it wants. For example, I woke up this morning, the alarm was set for 6 in the morning. I woke up and somewhere the child in me said, no, I want 5 more minutes of sleep. Right? And I allowed the child to express itself, snoozed, and allowed myself to have those 5 minutes extra. Now, there was a possibility during that period that the parent in me would say, no, 5 more minutes is not allowed, you have to reach that meeting on time, and therefore you need to learn how to be disciplined. There is no choice of allowing that 5-10 extra minutes of sleep. 6 o'clock would mean 6 o'clock and you have to follow the rules, right? That's the parent in me which is trying to regulate the child. The child wants what it wants. The parent is aware of rules, regulations, external impositions that I may have imbibed, like social morality and what would people think of me, right? All of those external factors that sometimes drive us. The child is the internal drives that tend to motivate us. Now, between the parent and the child, there is constantly an inner dialogue that happens, and the adult within us always tries to balance these two and tries to look at what is a evolved rational response to this interplay between the parent and the child. So today, for example, the adult in me said that, okay, the child wants 10 minutes of sleep, the parent knows I can't afford to be late for that meeting. So the adult says, okay, not 10 minutes, but I'll allow you 5 more minutes of sleep, right? That's the adult role in us, the adult state in us. Now, how do we use this knowledge of transactions between various ego states in the context of conversations with others? Now, just as we have 3 ego states, the person that we might be dealing with would also have these ego states within him or her. And conversations could happen between any of these states with any of the other states, right? So sometimes we may be coming from the adult space, but the person that we're talking to would be responding from the child state. We may be coming from the child state, the other person may be responding from the parent state, right? So for example, you go to your boss and ask for leave, and you really want that leave because you're very excited about this vacation that you're going to be going on. But the boss might come to you from the parent state and say, no, nothing doing, I don't even want to hear about why you're going on this vacation, but all I know is this project is very important to us, I cannot afford to have any team members on leave, right? So in that case, when the child is dealing with a parent, there's bound to be conflict, right? So how do we use transactional analysis to come to a common ground? What transactional analysis state is, the first step when you're talking to somebody is match the ego state, right? So if you're coming from a certain state and the other person happens to come in from a state that doesn't match, try and meet the state of that person if you wish to resolve that conflict, which means you're trying to ask for leave, boss says no. In order to resolve the conflict, try and approach it from the parent state and speak to the boss and say, okay, I understand this project is really important. Would you like to explain the criticality of the situation to me? Can we have a dialogue about the project, right? So when you meet the person in that parent state, the person has a feeling that yes, you understand, you're willing to have a conversation and you're not stubborn about your point of view. Right? Once you match the state, then slowly the idea is to bring the person back into the adult state. This is the rational, healthy state where conflicts can be resolved, right? So meet the parent state and then bring yourself down to the adult state and say, okay, my vacation is important to me and so is this project, and therefore can we evolve this conversation into a state where we look at alternatives, where I could perhaps take my vacation as well and the project is not impacted. So here is space for dialogue where you're speaking adult to adult, and there are opportunities created to explore alternatives. The alternatives could be about you taking the vacation but promising to be available online on your laptop or over the internet. It could be about saying I'll delay my vacation by a couple of days and make sure that the project is on track. It could be about you making sure that you train somebody else to take over your role while you're not available. Right? But this, for you to be able to come to this space of alternatives, it is first important to understand what state the other person is coming from, match that state, and then bring yourself into the adult state. And invariably, when you bring yourself into the adult state, the other person will appreciate it and come to the adult state himself or herself. That's transactional analysis for you in day-to-day conversations.